From childhood, we were taught the mechanism by which lunar eclipses and solar eclipses occur, yet never once did we pause to ask ourselves whether this explanation was convincing. We receive it as a scientific axiom, unquestionable, and never placed it within the circle of inquiry. Scientists tell us that these phenomena occur when the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon align in a straight line. If the Earth lies between the Sun and the Moon, a lunar eclipse takes place, for the Earth blocks the rays of the Sun, preventing them from reaching the Moon, and so the Moon reflects no light. If, on the other hand, the Moon comes between the Sun and the Earth, a solar eclipse occurs, as the Moon obstructs the sunlight from reaching the Earth. This interplay between Earth, Moon, and Sun rests on an unchanging celestial choreography, predictable with great accuracy. Yet the truth, according to the adherents of the flat Earth model, is utterly different. The true cause of eclipses, they argue, is something far more enigmatic, phenomena that defy simple interpretation, but at the very least hint at a flaw in the narrative we have long accepted without question. To comprehend the nature of eclipses, they contend, we must first free ourselves from the mental conditioning that insists the Sun and Moon are mere material bodies, that the Moon is a small sphere close to Earth while the Sun is vast and immeasurably distant. Only then will the cavern of hidden truths open before us, revealing mysteries veiled by the blindness of an intellect that has too readily accepted without investigation. For in the case of the lunar eclipse, strange, semi-transparent celestial bodies have been observed passing near the Moon, bodies not easily visible. Such objects were not discovered only in modern times, but were also recorded in antiquity by astronomers and philosophers. The Greek thinker Diogenes of Apollonia once remarked, "There are cosmic bodies without light that pass near those visible to us." The English mathematician and astronomer Sir John Frederick Herschel declared, "There are unseen moons in the heavens." What, then, is the connection between these hidden bodies and the eclipse? Let us begin with the radical supposition that the Moon does not reflect the Sun's light, as we have been told, but rather emits its own. This, they claim, can be tested directly. For although we may see both Sun and Moon simultaneously in the sky without the Moon being full, a simple experiment exposes a difference between the qualities of their light. Sunlight produces measurable heat. A thermometer placed in direct sun records a higher temperature than one kept in the shade. If a mirror reflects sunlight onto a shaded thermometer, the mercury rises, proving that the mirror carries the sun's heat along with its light. But when the reflecting surface is not a mirror but the Moon, the outcome is reversed. Temperatures in moonlight are lower than in its shade. This suggests the Moon emits a cold light of its own, fundamentally different from that of the Sun, and not merely a reflection. There is yet another observation, simple, almost childlike, that unmasks how our eyes may see one thing, while our conditioned minds accept another. We are told the Moon is a spherical body reflecting the Sun's rays. We believe it. And yet, have we not seen with our own eyes how light strikes a ball? It shines upon a single point, not upon the entire surface at once. How then can the Moon, a sphere, appear bathed in uniform brilliance? Did it never strike you as strange? This is the depth of the trance in which we slumber, lulled into unquestioning belief. Seek an explanation, and you will find only unsatisfying answers cloaked in the magic word, science. Thus, those who have made science into a deity, worshipped in place of God, or whose intellects have long ceased to function, will accept such explanations blindly, even when they contradict reason and defy the testimony of their own unclouded eyes. There is yet another hypothesis, astonishing in its strangeness, put forth by the advocates of the flat Earth model. The Moon is not a solid body, indeed, not a body at all. Madness, is it not? And yet, do you know the phases of the Moon? The new moon, the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, the full moon, the waning gibbous, the last quarter, the waning crescent. Then once more the new moon and a new lunar month begins. In every phase but the full moon, a portion of the lunar disk lies in shadow, does it not? But here is the disquieting claim. Stars may be seen shining through that darkened portion, as if it were transparent, or as if it did not exist at all. You can confirm this yourself. Take a high-powered camera and observe. You will see stars glittering through the obscured part of the moon. Something utterly impossible were the moon truly a dense material sphere as we have been taught. This hypothesis holds that the moon is nothing more than the projection of light from a distant source, much as the beam of a torch passes through a thin curtain and appears upon its surface. If an object interrupts the beam, the light vanishes accordingly, leaving a patch of darkness through which the background stars are revealed. The effect is most striking during a lunar eclipse, when it seems as though some translucent body has slipped across the sky and intercepted the light. Perhaps these are the dark cosmic objects spoken of by ancient astronomers. If you search into this matter, you will find explanations, some fanciful and absurd, others strangely plausible. Some say an eclipse occurs because the moon dips lower in its orbit, out of reach of the sun's rays. Others claim the moon itself is no natural body at all, but an artificial construct, the handiwork of lost civilizations. Still others suggest it is a reflection of the Earth itself, as though a mirror were holding its image with a great temporal delay. Such ideas may defy reason, and perhaps they are meant to, for whenever a subject veers too close to forbidden truths, there are always those eager to cast it into the field of myth and mockery. As for solar eclipses, the strangest observation is this. Though the moon is said to be the cause, it is never visible in the heavens immediately before or after the event. It is as if the sun itself were but a projection of light from some unknown source, and the true culprit is one of those shadowy, half-invisible bodies that drift across the firmament. So declare the free-minded scientists too, some of whom insist that no one truly knows the nature of the sun. It is not a raging sphere of nuclear fire, as we are told, but something far more mysterious, still veiled in secrecy. Nor are the stars what we have been taught. They are not distant suns with planets and moons revolving about them, not lanterns scattered through an infinite void. They are but points of light floating in the sea of the sky, their source unknown. And does not a verse come unbidden to mind, the Almighty swearing by the positions of the stars, declaring it a mighty oath, if only you knew? No matter. We have not yet entered the realm of religious testimony, though the phrase "the sea of the sky" has brought us to a strange and haunting station. Is the sky itself a sea? I have not forgotten our pact that we would refrain from invoking Scripture save when we come to the moment of guidance. Yet even so, there are two verses in the Quran that we cannot pass by without pause. The first is his saying, "It is He who created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, each floating in its orbit." The conjunction here is one of accompaniment, indicating that the night, the day, the sun, and the moon are four distinct entities. This means that the day is one thing, while the sun is another. Strange, is it not? But let us defer this point for now, as it invites extensive discussion. What concerns us at the moment is the word Yasbin. They swim. Swimming, after all, takes place in water. It is hardly logical that the Quran, so precise in its choice of words, would employ it to mean flying. Indeed, regarding birds, he says, "Do they not see the birds enabled to fly in the open air?" He did not call them swimmers. The other verse is his saying, "It is He who created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and His throne was upon the water." Those versed in Arabic know that when a verb is attributed to God, It is freed from the confines of time, for he is the creator of time and beyond its limits. Thus, when we say, "And God has ever been all-forgiving, all-merciful," it does not mean he was merciful in the past but is no longer so. Rather, he has ever been, is now, and shall ever remain forgiving and merciful. By the same token, his saying, "And his throne was upon the water," may mean that his throne still rests upon the water. Where, then, is this water? Let us set out into this land of wonders with a simple question. Do our senses deceive us? Our senses are undeniably limited, yet not null. They are capable of perceiving truths that have been hidden beneath the lifelong brainwashing we have endured, until our eyes see the truth while our minds insist on perceiving what they wish. Consider, every day we witness clear and striking evidence that we dwell upon a flat, unmoving earth. Yet we voluntarily refuse to see it, dismiss it, or fail to grasp it because our minds resist. At the seashore at sunrise or sunset, do we not see the reflection of the sun stretching across the water's surface until it reaches our very feet? Do you realize this would be impossible if the earth were a sphere? On a globe, the sun's reflection would fall on the far side, hidden by the curve, and only when the sun rose high would its reflection become visible within our line of sight. Even the refractive index of water cannot explain this phenomenon. We see with our own eyes the sun's full reflection even when it lies upon the horizon, proof that it rises and sets over a perfectly level plane. This is entirely logical, for the surface of water is always level, and in physical terms, water cannot bulge over the surface of a sphere, much less one spinning at 1,600 kilometers per hour. And if we accept that water can indeed curve upon such a sphere, why does it not collect at the center before flinging off into space, like water upon a whirling ball? If, as claimed, we inhabit a massive globe that spins upon itself, revolves around the sun, while the entire solar system revolves around the galactic axis, and the galaxy itself hurtles through vast space, why do we feel no motion at all? Is it because the motion is constant, or because our senses betray us? Very well, let us accept that too. But then, if we are at the heart of such a complex system of fourfold motions, why have the stars, since time immemorial, revolved across the celestial dome in perfect circles, never altering their positions or patterns, while the pole star remains immovably fixed at the center? Were we truly within such a system, we would surely witness the stars shift in chaotic paths. Yet this never occurs, for the science crafted with exquisite deception and exalted by parrots conceals from us profound truths. Among them are real experiments that prove the Earth stands still, such as the Airy experiment, also called Airy's failure, and the Michelson-Morley experiment, which demonstrated that the Earth's speed of rotation is precisely zero. This experiment placed the scientific community before two stark choices: either to abandon the theory of the ether, along with the vast body of work by Faraday, Tesla, and Maxwell concerning electromagnetism and light, all of which were grounded in the existence of the ether, or to renounce the notion of the Earth's rotation. Both options were difficult for the scientific establishment to accept, yet they were, of course, more than willing to sacrifice the ether, and with it everything else, in order to preserve the idea of a rotating Earth. You can search for yourself about these experiments, which left scientists uneasy, for they knew that the ether must exist. Without it, our very existence would lose all meaning. They remained caught in this dilemma until Albert Einstein declared that the speed of light is constant, regardless of the speed of its observer. In so doing, he resolved the quandary posed by the Michelson-Morley experiment, abolishing the ether. Yet years later, he would admit, one cannot deny the existence of the ether, otherwise space itself would be devoid of physical properties. But according to the theory of general relativity, space is replete with physical qualities, and it is inconceivable to speak of space without an ether. This correction, however, came too late after the pieces of the game had been carefully arranged to safeguard the heliocentric model and the spherical Earth. We shall not delve into these experiments in detail here, but you may research them to see how genuine achievements were sacrificed, how Tesla and his brilliant ideas were buried, all for the sake of a grand design. And now let us return to water. Do you recall the Go Faster rocket experiment we mentioned earlier, where at an altitude of 117 kilometers it suddenly halted, as though colliding with a ceiling that stopped it, a ceiling not of solid matter? That is the firmament, the preserved canopy. So if above us lies a dome or a barrier through which nothing can pass, what lies beyond it? Would you be surprised if told that above it is water? From whence, then, come the meteors and falling stars? Believe it or not, they never actually reach the Earth, but instead strike the dome or canopy. And what we know as stars and planets are nothing more than points of light, each sailing in its orbit upon the ocean of the heavens. A perplexing matter indeed. But why, one wonders, are all the training exercises of space agencies, foremost among them NASA, conducted in vast swimming pools? Is it, as they claim, to simulate the density of space? Or is it because they know that above us lies water, and they are devising ways to penetrate it? They know it full well. In their films, whether science fiction or fantasy, they repeatedly depict the dome, the canopy, and the waters beyond. And if we turn again to religion, whether the Quran or the Bible, we find both speaking of a great deluge that engulfed the earth in the time of the prophet Noah, peace be upon him. From where, then, came the waters that flooded the whole world? The verse is as clear as the sun they have concealed from us. So we opened the gates of the heaven with pouring water. That is, torrents of water gushed forth without cease after the gates of heaven were opened, not mere rain, for rain is never described as pouring forth in torrents. Could anything be clearer than this? And in the Bible, behold, I will bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life from under heaven. Note also that the waters which engulfed the world did not descend from the heavens alone, but surged forth from the earth as well. The Almighty says, "And we caused the earth to burst forth with springs, then the waters met for a preordained purpose." Thus, above us lies a vast sea, yet it is also connected to the depths of the earth. And if this is a purely scriptural inference, then let those who worship science explain. Why do we see springs bursting forth from the heights of mountains and hills, unless there is a pressure beneath driving the waters upward? From whence comes this force that rends the earth and sends forth an endless supply of fresh water? Are the sources of rivers, whether perennial or seasonal, truly the rains, or are they fed by the earth's depths, connected to the celestial sea? Then, is the sky blue because daylight reflects upon the waters above? Does the sun blaze with its singular brilliance because it swims within those waters? Curiously, if you gaze through a telescope at the stars and planets, you will discover that they are nothing like NASA's computer-generated imagery, but rather radiant, shimmering points of light, gleaming as though they were lamps afloat upon water, their reflections plainly visible. Stranger still, should you examine NASA's photograph of Pluto, you will hold an astonishing irony. The silhouette of Disney's famous dog Pluto etched upon its surface, as though they were mocking us outright. And finally, in Japan at the dawn of 2018, on the 18th of January, a rocket carrying a satellite was launched into space. Yet its trajectory was most peculiar. After reaching a certain altitude, it seemed to enter a medium unlike the air of Earth or the void of space. Cameras recorded an intense radiance, as if the rocket had plunged into water. More astonishing still, Moments later, it fell back into the atmosphere after a meteor flashed above it, as though that meteor had forced it back. Could this be the watchful meteor of which the Almighty speaks, the sentinel that forbids jinn and mankind alike from breaching the boundaries of the heavens? Nor was this rocket the only one launched at that time. Several others followed similar courses. In Russia, on the 26th of December 2017, an identical phenomenon occurred. And again, in the United States on the 22nd of December 2017, where the spectacle was undeniable. As the rocket left the Earth's atmosphere, it clearly entered a watery medium, captured in the lenses of countless observers. The question arises, how did these rockets pierce the firmament, while the Go Faster rocket or the missiles of Operation Fishbowl could not? Flat Earth theorists reply that the Go Faster struck the dome vertically, unable to break through the surface tension of the celestial ocean, whereas the other rockets ascended at a slight angle, slipping only through the tension at its boundary. Yet, even so, they stalled in the watery realm and failed to advance. Baffling mystery indeed. Are these all but illusions? Or does a hidden elite truly rule the world, concealing from us the very sun of truth? Are they plotting some design they dare not unveil to the masses? We shall seek to unravel this in the chapters ahead. But first, let us return to the firmament itself, through mankind's historic leap, the footsteps of Neil Armstrong upon the lunar surface.